Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, I have some advice for parents of young adults. In this video, we're going to talk about that unique role and relationship of the young adult and their parents, whether they're living in the home or outside of the home. We're going to talk about those different dynamics and some conversations that you can have with your young adult, and maybe even some things that you can set up to make sure that you have good, strong communication and relationships going forward. From the time that child was born, the bonding, the sense of belonging, everything meant so much to them. In fact, belonging is our #1 need that we have as a human, and they have that with you. It started so long ago, but they didn't just get something from that belonging. We got something from the belonging too. I'll never forget my son-in-law when I had my first grandchild, and she was, I don't know, maybe like a year and a half, maybe 2 years old, and he said to me, "You know, I finally understand my purpose of life. Having Clara, having this baby, has helped me understand what it's really all about, who I am, and what I need to do with my life." And I thought, that's profound. He didn't understand maybe how profound it actually was to say that. Because as adults, we actually find more value, more purpose as we feel that we belong to our children too, that they need us, and that we have this wonderful bond that exists in that parent-child relationship. So as our children get older, they naturally start to pull away from that bond a little bit more, a little bit more. So by the time they hit about 14 or 15, they're starting to pull away just a little bit more from the parents. Once they hit 16, 17, it's even more. Once they hit 18 to 20, they are wanting to be completely independent, yet they're not always independent, are they? They may want all the perks that come with independence, but they're not always taking on the responsibility. Now, it is wise to prepare a child to launch long before it's time to launch. Tell them about your expectations of what they would do once they reach adulthood. Help empower them and inspire them to want to do different things, get jobs and such. Help them develop a good work ethic by working a lot and getting jobs and really doing things out in the community where they can serve and grow. Help them do a lot of community service work, because that's going to help them. There are some faith traditions that will actually, once their children hit about adult age, they will have their children go out in the world doing community service work for like a year or two, and then they come back ready to just be adults. Now, I know not everybody has that same planning that maybe has already happened, but if you're young and you're thinking about this for the future, or you still have children that you're raising up, even though you've got one who's already a young adult, keep that in mind. So let's talk about what to do when you have this young adult in your house and you're having a struggle figuring out how to have that bond in a way that feels as comfortable and as whole as it used to. First thing is that you have to recognize they have to make some decisions on their own. But if they're in your house, they also have to abide by the standards of your home. That's an important aspect of living in a home with somebody else. Now, if they're off at school or if they're working, living somewhere else, well then technically they are completely independent. At that point, your relationship with them is very different. Your role is no longer the person that tells them things to do all the time. Now your role is the person that just checks in and reaches out to them with love. Maybe you pray a lot, probably a real lot if I'm going to be very serious. I've raised a lot of young people up through adulthood now, and I know that prayer is like my best friend. So anyway, you pray a lot, you reach out to them a lot, but you give them their space. You let them know, I'm not going to micromanage you. I'm not going to have you tell me everything all the time and call me every day. If you don't call every day, then actually they'll call you a lot more. Right before filming this video, I actually had a phone call from my son, and I was like, oh, I better take that. It's my son. It's probably important because he's in the middle of his school day. I picked it up and I said, hey, Porter, what's up? And he said, oh, nothing much, Mom. I'm just calling to, see how you're doing, saying hi. And I was like, I love this guy. I just so love him. He's 21 years old, and he's just in the middle of the day, when he's in his college life, he's just calling me up to see how I'm doing. And then he's like, well, can we talk later, Mom? I know you're kind of busy right now. But we talked a little bit, and I said, yeah, sure, we can talk later. And so he wants me to call him back. Do you know what? He asked me for advice. He asked me for advice on girls. He asked me for advice on academic choices. He asked me for advice on internships. Do I tell him exactly what to do? No. Sometimes he says to me, Mom, I wish you would just tell me exactly what to do. It would be so much easier. I said, yeah, but that's not my choice. It's not my choice to make. It's yours, son. And you've got to learn to take the cause and effect and balance them out in your own life. And he's like, Mom, I hate that. I wish you'd just tell me, because he wants to make sure he always chooses everything right. I say, this is what I would probably do, but at the same time, there's also this, so you need to weigh it out. At those times, I'm his advisor. I'm not the one that tells him what to do. I don't berate him all the time. Now, if he is doing something that is dangerous or is not good, he knows that I have enough integrity, I'm forthright enough that I would come up to him and say, you know what, son, I'm a little bit concerned right now because I saw that, you're doing this, behavior, whatever it is. Maybe you're online too much or something, or it seems like you're disconnected from the family or, whatever. I don't know what I'd bring up. I don't usually have to bring up things with him, but I have had with other children in the past brought up things that I'm concerned about. And they know that Mom's always going to have enough honesty, and I'm always going to be upfront enough that I would come to them and tell them a piece of advice. But I'm not going to overload it, and I'm not going to make it long. I'm just going to mention it really just quickly. Honestly, my grandpa changed my life one day when I was working, and I was a mother at that time, so I had a child already, and he came to my work for something, and he saw something. He saw the way I was dressed. He made one comment about it. He asked a question, made a comment, and after that I thought, am I dressed inappropriately? I think I might be dressed inappropriately. In fact, I was just so glad he just asked that little question. He didn't make a big judgment. He just asked. And then he made a little comment, and that was it. But I knew he loved me so much, and he wanted the best for me. And so after that, I was like, okay, I'm changing my ways. I'm not wearing that ever again. And I was so glad that he just had enough integrity to say it. So many parents go around walking on eggshells. That's not a good thing to do when you have young adults. They need you to be a presence in their life, but not an overbearing one. They need to make decisions, but they also need an advisor. Their prefrontal cortexes are not fully developed until they're in their mid-20s. They still need you as they are now on their training wheels, into adulthood, making a little bit of mistakes here and there. And if they do make mistakes, don't take it personally. Because your example of love, unwavering love, no matter what the mistake is, will always end up bringing them back to you. Don't blow off the mistake. Don't act like it wasn't a mistake. So don't affirm everything in their life. Just always love. There is a difference between affirming and loving, and I wish our society would figure that out, because we've hurt a lot of people in our society by just affirming every single thought in their head, every single feeling that they have. So there is a balance that you want to keep with your young adults, a balance of independence, but then also some influence, right? You want to maintain some healthy influence with them because they need mentoring. They need an example, and they need to have somebody who cares no matter what. Now, if you have a young adult that's living at your house, maybe they're not launching, maybe they're being lazy, they're not doing all kinds of things, you need to have some deliberate conversations with them. Some conversations that talk about what their role is at this time. Their role right now is that they are supposed to start experiencing things and learning on their own. They are now turning into their own teacher, and they have to take those responsibilities, right? You have been the teacher, they have been the learner. That still is somewhat in place, but now they take on more of an ownership role over their own development, and they've got to take off and do that. And you have to help them set goals to do that. Don't let them just mooch off of you forever. Don't treat them like babies. Don't treat them like they can't live an adult life in this hard world just because of money or something else. You're not going to do them any service then. They need their hard moments in life in order to grow and become strong and confident, just like you are. Going through work, Going through hardships makes people confident. That confidence is born out of that resilience and that perseverance. It develops their character and it's good for them. So remember, as you're raising your children, when they're little, you are reforming all their behaviors again. As they get a little bit older, you reform a little less once they've got that part down. I mean, if you're just starting at 17, still reform for a minute, okay? And then you start helping them transform into adulthood by taking more and more responsibility of their own behaviors. If they're going to have a messy room, they're going to have one. If they don't have gas money to go somewhere, they don't have it. You don't bail them out all the time. Now you give them the responsibility and let them get ready to launch. Let them feel that pressure that's so healthy for them. There's so much more that I could share with you about adults and raising adults. There's other videos on this channel, but there's one in particular that I think might really be interesting for you as you're trying to manage that relationship and maybe even the emotions in the relationship. The video is called The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success. Click on the link to that video next. I'll see you there.